YouTube.com, Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to be talking about a Cassian Andor clip that has hit the internet, a bunch of Tony Gilroy comments, and some leaks from Acolyte. Couldn't remember the name for a second. And so we'll get to all of that in due time. But let's look up the clip because, the clip is punk. It's pretty good. I can't lie. I was pretty into this clip. Here we go.
So which is it? I know Bix has a game. I know you bribe quartermasters to leave valuables on the ships before they come in for scrap, but this isn't that. This isn't something that let pass.
No. I went in and got this myself.
How? How's that possible? It was sealed on the Imperial Naval Base in Steergard.
Look, you got the money, I got the box. What else is there to talk about?
I'll give you another 1,000 credits to tell me how you got it.
Another 1,000.
Done. How?
You just walk in like you belong.
Takes more than that, doesn't it?
What, to steal from the Empire? What do you need? A uniform, some dirty hands, and an Imperial toolkit. They're so proud of themselves, they don't even care. They're so fat and satisfied, they can't imagine it.
Can't imagine what?
That someone like me would ever get inside their house, walk their floors, spit in their food, take their gear.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Gotta say, I'm a fan of it. I like it. With Rebellion in Star Wars, a lot of it is just predicated upon the concept that people will eventually do the right thing. Even in Rogue One, it kind of comes down to that. Like, you have everybody in there, like, they know this bad thing's gonna happen, and then they're all, we've done this bad stuff, and they all just stand up and like, oh, I want to join you. But I like that. I like the spirit of this. Like, there's real earned hate in the way that he delivers those lines or the concept. And so I really enjoyed the clip. I'm thinking the show's going to kick ass. I mean, it's sounding good. And if Cassian, keeps it up, I mean, I always like it when people are Robin Hooding it up, When I love David Bowie, but I also love it when the Sex Pistols still David Bowie's gear. That's funny and pretty cool at the same time. So, anyways, let's look at a couple of things that old man Gilroy was saying. Oh, and before I get to that, actually, people have been asking where Rob is, and I think I should address this before we get too far into the show. I hate to talk about it, but basically, me and Rob were talking, and he started imitating George Lucas, and he got stuck as George Lucas. And he's in San Francisco right now trying to direct Andor season 2. I think he's in jail. No, his coolant should be here pretty soon, I think. I mean, I will say thank you to everyone for being a channel member, but maybe if we had more channel members, I could have sprang and got him some faster shipping on that computer coolant. I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean, that's a possibility, that's what this might come down to. Anyways, yeah, Dell, I actually didn't play the song. I was like, do I play it? Oh yeah. Bitch, slap the like button. Please do. Thank you, King Chris, for being a channel member. Appreciate it, dude. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? Hair's looking good, dude. Spitting your food. Are you an Imperial? If you're an Imperial, Cassian will spit in your food. I think, anyways. All right, let me share this. Let me share my screen. Where is it at? Here we go. All right, the first one right here is about Stellan Skarsgård riding bitch on the back of Cassian's motorcycle. How Andor became the first Star Wars TV series for grown-ups. I wanted to do it about real people. by Adam B. Very. So Tony Gilroy didn't want to make it a prequel to Rogue One, the 2016 Star Wars feature, which Gilroy co-wrote. It itself, which he co-wrote, is itself a prequel detailing how a ragged crew of rebels led by spy Cassian Andor steal the plans to the Death Star. They succeed, but spoiler alert, they all sacrifice their lives, so an uncharacteristically dour ending for a Star Wars endeavor. The production was also infamously troubled, with Gilroy, who wrote 4 Bourne movies and directed Michael Clayton, stepping in to helm extensive reshoots in place of director Gareth Edwards. When the result was a massive hit, grossing just over $1 billion worldwide, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy was eager to do more Star Wars movies with Gilroy, which makes sense. Rob, I will say what Rob would say, he gave them $1 billion. They're going to do whatever he wants. But I clearly right now am in love with Gilroy. That scene we just saw was so good. But I do think a lot of that was coasting on the fervor of 2015 of The Force Awakens. I have serious doubts. I mean, maybe I'm too cynical, but I have serious doubts that if Rogue One came out today, regardless of your opinions of any of the other Star Wars movies, just as a film with its tone and stuff like that, that it would do $1 billion. I would love to be wrong, though. That would be a good one to be wrong about, but we will see how adult Star Wars does. So Gilroy goes on to say, I remember Kathy saying, what can we do? And I said, well, what kind of stories do you want to do? Gilroy recalls. And she goes, we could do anything. So I said, could you do like Inherit the Wind? Gilroy, in other words, had no interest in making another grand space saga and moved on. And by 2018, Lucasfilm began developing a TV series set before the events of Rogue One, following Cassian's life with his trusty droid K2SO, Alan Tudyk. Gilroy wasn't involved, but the studio sent him the script. It was in the vein of Cassian and K2, or like Butch and Sundance, and they're gonna storm the Citadel, he says. The material was fine, he adds, but very hard to sustain over a long haul. So while still professing no interest in the job, Gilroy wrote a long forensic manifesto back to Lucasfilm, and not only outlined why he thought that approach wouldn't work, but why he thought what he thought the studio should do instead. It was such a crazy idea, he says with a wide grin. It was so radical, so out there. Yeah, I'm out there, man. Like, I got Cassian Andor, and he's like hawking loogies and people's food, man. You know? So, yeah. But anyways, hey, how's everybody doing in the chat? I'm glad. I was happy to see you guys every day, by the way. You know? Sometimes I know I scowl at you, but I love you guys. Happy to see you. Okay, that idea was Andor, the 12-episode first season, which is set to debut on Disney Plus on September 21st, is indeed unlike anything ever attempted before in the 45-year history of the Star Wars franchise. Yeah, that sounds really cool, but you also have to remember, for like half of that, George Lucas was writing Willow fan fiction and, you know, hanging out with pop stars. Okay, rather than turn Cassian's life, Linda Rodstedt, rather than turn Cassian's life pre-Rogue One, Michael Jackson, into a rollicking space adventure, Gilroy, who wrote 5 episodes and serves as executive producer and showrunner, uses Cassian's story to depict in almost Dickensian detail the intertwining lives of everyday people as they orbit around the formation of the Rebel Alliance. See, I think, I'm just guessing right here, Lucasfilm was thinking of this stuff in terms of like a film. Like, we're bringing film Star Wars to television. They're like, oh, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with K2 and Cassian. Oh, that'll be fun. And they're not wrong. I think that would be fun. But I think Gilroy said, no, this is a TV show. And on a TV show, you could do a lot more. So you should. That's what I'm getting from this. while legacy characters like Mon Mothman, Genevieve O'Reilly, and Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker, do appear. By the way, Saw Gerrera's little brother can get you concert tickets. Just don't crash his car. The vast majority of the ensemble's more than 200 actors are playing brand new characters, often inhabiting worlds we've never seen before. Most crucially, rather than wayward Jedi or secret Skywalkers, Andor follows lowly factory workers and mid-level technocrats, seemingly unremarkable characters who long hovered in the background but were never granted the spotlight until now. I like that. I mean, maybe I like that. Unless the factory workers are like, hey, maybe we should build a wall. I wanted to do it about real people, Gilroy says. They made all this IP about the royal family, in essence. It's been great. But there's a billion other things in the galaxy. There's plumbers and cosmeticians, journalists. What are their lives like? The revolution is affecting them just as much as anybody else. Why not use the Star Wars canon as the host organism for absolutely realistic, passionate, dramatic storytelling? What are you talking about, Tony Gilroy? You are high. As for any other legacy characters who may pop up in season 1, there are, Gilroy says, never fan service. Ooh, fuck you, fans. I actually kind of agree with that, though. Because the truth is, when you just make new characters and then they come back in season 2, people are like, oh my God, it's a cameo. The guy from season 1. That's all you have to do. Just do a season 2. It's never cynical, he continues. It's always meant to be there. It's always protein. It's never icing. Ooh, buddy, I don't know, man. Sometimes I kind of just want to get a big old thing of frosting and fucking cry, just eat it and cry and hate myself. That's fair, right? But I know we're going at. I know what you're getting at here, Mr. Gilroy. So it was precisely Gilroy's ground level approach that convinced Luna to return to Cassian again. He also serves as an executive producer. I've been producing since I was 6 years old. It's the articulation of a rebellion, the actor says. It's not about one character saving everyone. It's about community. So once again, we have a Star Wars name or a Star Wars show titled incorrectly, right? I mean, when you get down to it, they seem to really shy away from naming stuff creatively. And they're like, Disney Plus people are dumb. So this one's got Chewbacca in it. So now it's called Chewbacca on Disney Plus. I guess if that works, though, and it gets people watching it like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think that was the best title for it. Anyways, that broader perspective surprised Kyle Soller, Paul Dark, who plays Cyril Karn. I want some cereal. For breakfast. An officious deputy inspector who runs afoul of Cassian. It was completely different from what I expected the Star Wars scripts to look like, he says. I had to flip back and look at the title. No, this is Star Wars. I just felt like, wow, this is incredibly grown up, gritty, messy. At one point, he adds, Cyril comes home and spends some time with his mother, which is so un-Star Warsy. It's pretty good, though. And that is an interesting thing to see on screen. The question is, will Star Wars fans who are like, I like lightsabers, and that's all that they're about, will they be able to attach to it? Will they be engrossed in the drama and then therefore not looking for R5D4 in the background? You know what I mean? Because I do agree with where he's coming from. Like when you're looking for R5D4 in the background on your first watch, something's usually wrong. Something is usually a little bit off, You're not really into it at that point. You're just looking for things that got you off before, So, yes, Mia, we are going to get into that article next. Doing a Star Wars show on this scale, Gilroy adds, was only possible thanks to the economics of streaming, which he wielded to his full advantage. Rather than film inside the volume with the bleeding edge soundstage filled with LED screens and Nintendos that The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi have utilized extensively, the series' ambitious storytelling required shooting on real locations and sprawling, fully constructed sets in London. And I gotta say, I think the volume, it's not the catch-all answer to everything, and we're seeing that because every time I'm seeing something from Cassian, I'm appreciating it a lot. We'll look at some set photos before we get to the next article too, by the way. I imagine that I was stills. I imagine that I was either going to be on a green screen or that I would have to be in front of a virtual set, says Adria Arjona Morbius. Come on, man. Why would you point out Morvendinder? All right, anyways, who plays Cassian's friend Bix, a mechanic on the planet Ferrix. They created an entire city. Ferrix actually exists. I was there. Yep, they did make it. That's true. Although in some ways it's not unlike what they do in For the Mandalorian. Not that unlike it, but okay, I'll give it to her. Because she's Bix, and Bix can have whatever she wants. So that's my official stance. When Denise Go, who plays Imperial security agent Deidre Miro, first shot on the Ferrix set, she was similarly impressed. There was what looked like a sushi bar. Sushi. That was for Meg. And I looked in one of the bowls and there were blue noodles, she says. In the next one, there was a skewer with some sort of strange animals on it. I thought, wow, nobody's ever going to see this. This is all done for us. Yeah, to some extent, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Those sets include everything from palatial homes to high-class brothels to housing projects, all designed to help ground the storytelling in relatable human complexity and appeals to viewers beyond the Star Wars faithful. Gotta say, Gilroy, though, are you really going to saddle up here? Because I don't know if Wookiees and certain things could be doing it even for money. All right, so I need this addressed in Andor or the show's a failure. You should be able to watch the show and not give a shit about Star Wars ever or have ever seen any Star Wars, Gilroy says. This show should work on its own. It's this in the same breath, however, he adds, the hope, the dream is that the really hardcore Star Wars community will embrace the show in a new way, that they will be thrilled to have someone come in and completely uncynically get down molecularly in their world and treat it like a real thing. I'm conceptually sold. The clip has sold me. That clip today sold me more than the trailers. Trailers were like pretty, but like I said, like the shit that Cassian sang in that clip, that feels right. And that feels more real than, Han Solo, like Han Solo, he just does the right thing eventually. You know what I mean? But you never hear about Han Solo spitting in anybody's food. But that's what a real rebel does. You know what I mean? So, okay, let me make sure this isn't anything new. This might be something new, I'm not sure. But I don't think it's a show for 9-year-olds, probably, Gilroy says, which is not to say the series doesn't embrace its Star Wars roots. We are an adventure story, he adds. We are a thriller. And in a really abundant way, we're creating a lot of IP. Some of it's ground level, products and TV shows and kinds of things. They're all brand new. Okay. I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess. Gilroy, you're making new TV shows. We're talking about the same thing here, though. I'm like a little bit lost on that part right there. But all right, hold on. I'm pasting this article into the queue for us. All right, doing so proved far more consuming than Gilroy had originally intended. I thought, I'll build the first season, get it up and rolling. Then someone else can take it over and they can go do it, he says. that wasn't really feasible. Capturing the granular circumstances of ordinary people in the Star Wars galaxy, from the cereal they eat, which is where he came up with that character's name, they eat, to the jewelry they wear, meant every last detail had to be designed, approved, and fabricated. There were many times along the way where it was just like, man, what have I done to my life? Gilroy says. Why did I do this? This can't just be worth it. That's a hard conversation to have with yourself when you're in it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these creatives, I don't know why they come back. Like, I don't know why Abrams came back. Like, kind of hit a home run. I would retire on the home run personally. What do I know, though? I keep coming back to this stupid shit. Things got particularly dire when Gilroy realized he created an outwardly impossible dilemma for himself. Andor starts 5 years before the events of Rogue One, and Gilroy's plan was always to end the series right before the events of the movie. But season 1, which spans a year of Cassian's life, took just about 2 years to make. Maintaining the show's expansive scope for 4 more seasons felt overwhelming. And this kind of makes sense for what people at Pinewood were hearing early on. They were being told they were like 4 or 5 seasons. You just couldn't possibly physically make 5 years of the show, Gilroy says with a groan. I mean, Diego would be like 65. I'd be in a nursing home, he grimaces. We were panicked. We can't sign on to this forever. So, and then we have that, a really nice high resolution version of that photo of Gilroy with Cassian at the Black Park set. So anyways, then Gilroy says he, Luna, and executive producer San Wallenberg, is that Sene? I need to look this up. I keep forgetting. Caller Wallenberg, Chernobyl hit upon an amazingly elegant solution that took advantage of the structure they adopted for season 1, in which a single story arc unfolds over 3 concurrent episodes written and directed by the same team. It's why Disney Plus is premiering the first 3 episodes together. In November, Andor starts production on his second final season of 12 episodes, and each 3-episode block will cover a discrete number of days in Cassian's life in a single year. So I like that with this show. It's so much about the drama and dramatic conceits that they literally are okay with telling us all of this stuff instead of being like crazy babies about it. Hey, King Chris, thank you so much for the super chat, bud. I appreciate it. All hail the king. All hail Lambhead. Add it to the funds for Rob. Whatever helps get the entire team back here together every day. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate it. And but I will not be giving anything to Rob. Like that guy, I'm going to use this to get pizza and eat it from in front of him on pizza day, but not tell them it was pizza day. That's a good one, right? But I can't lie. I do miss a little fucker. I mean, he's bigger than I am. He's taller than I am. But I'm still going to call him a little fucker because he's not here. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. So anyway, okay. So Sani. Okay, Sani. Wink. It was Agatha all along. Okay, here we go. Back to the article. But when we came back in a year later, and it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we go away for a year, Gilroy says, with palpable excitement. And when we come back for, I think, 8 days, and then we go away for a year, and we come back, and it's 4 days. As Luna, Star Wars is growing in ways that it can allow itself to have different expressions. We're not part of a saga that doesn't end. Our end is clear. It's as clear as an end can be. It will also mark the end of Gilroy's time working in a galaxy far, far away. He's turned from his earlier moments of despair to feeling proud of this sort of bespoke, enormous thing that we're all trying to make, and possibly revolutionizing how audiences think of Star Wars in the process. As one character says on the show, everybody has their own rebellion. Okay, that's cool. You know, one of the things that I like about this series. Oh, and thank you, As a True. Yep, it was my birthday. I'm old. One of the things that I think is really almost like a social responsibility, if you will, George Lucas definitely felt that. George Lucas, when he made Greedo shoot second, felt a social responsibility to not depict his hero of Han Solo in that way. You could disagree with it all you want, and I kind of do too. I mean, kind of don't give a shit, you know, at this point, I kind of just don't care anymore. But what I'm saying is he felt like, I don't want to tell people you shoot first, and removed it, changed it. Okay. Then when he got to the prequels, he goes and he starts talking about how a democracy gives itself over to corporatists, to corporations, and essentially, whether he knows it or not, how neoliberalism begins to essentially corrupt everything. And then you end up with Sith Lords as your chancellor of the galaxy. Sometimes they're orange, sometimes they're look like ball sacks. Just depends. So that's the responsibility that Lucas felt. But what Gilroy is doing, and probably on purpose, just he seems very deliberate, like a very deliberate man, is he is saying this is what it looks like when you come in as a colonial power and extract capital from people, when you just decimate everything about their way of life and who they are. And so I think that's a good lesson for the West to hear, and for children to take in today, you know, and then to, when they grow up, realize, if I do that, you know, I'm like the guy named Serial in Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I think that's sort of cool. I like it anyways. I like that concept. And you know, there's a bit of to get a little anthropology 101 here. It's a little bit, we have a bit of an ethnocentric view of the world, especially like in the United States, where we think we are the best. We have American exceptionalism. So therefore, if we come in and we fuck up your environment and your culture and all that, you're going to become like us and whoa, we're great. You know, that there's sort of that kind of idea. Which, by the way, on a side note too, I see that with the UFO stuff when they talk about like, oh, they're billions of years ahead of us. And I'm like, well, you know, that's a little ethnocentric, because our culture is as valid as theirs. Just because they've been around for longer or have bigger alien brains, what do you want me to do about it? Doesn't mean that, it, you know, I can't like Return of the Jedi a lot, you know? Anyways, let's look at a couple of steals really quick from the film, or from the show, I should say. This is the one I used in the little avatar featured image of this episode, and it is pretty. It has a very champagne like aesthetic to it. Something I haven't seen in Star Wars, maybe Otagunga on the 2011 re-release, where they touched it up a bit. Looks a little bit more champagne like, you know, like a champagne bottle when you've had a few. But I like and then Rogue One, we had those engines just like sitting around and stuff like that, you know. And but I mean, once again, everybody's gonna go, are they pod racer engines? But I think every engine in Star Wars is a pod racer engine, essentially, when it's not on a ship or attached to a pod racer. It's just kind of like how they look. But it looks really cool though. And I'm assuming this is Bix, and this is like her shop, as we saw in the clip. Yeah, they run scams. We got another shot of Cassian in the bar. This time talking to a pretty lady, and he's like, "Hey, pretty lady, do you like my Paul McCartney beard? Do you like Get Back?" And then back here we have those guys that I'm pretty sure are assholes. I mean, I'm just convinced. I mean, they just don't look like they don't have a very inviting like tone to them, do they? Like, you don't really look at those guys and go, "Hey, look at that sports ball team," right? These guys look like they'd be like, "Shut the fuck up." But they love showing this set off, and cool, I guess. I'd rather just see the clip from that. Starting a little bit worried when they keep showing us the same set, though. I mean, a little bit. Not worried, but you know what I mean. And then right here we got Cyril Karn. or cereal corn. Gilroy was literally just looking at the ingredients of his cereal box when he came up with this character's name. But you see right here, and he's pointing to, this is the last known location of Rob. Yes, he thinks he's George Lucas. Yes, it's true. No, he will only speak to Jason if he shaves his stash entirely and keeps a beard. Thinks he's Gary Kurtz. Somebody in the comments, I meant to answer it, was like, is Gary Kurtz like a big asshole? And no, Gary Kurtz isn't an asshole. He just made some egregious errors and then had some really awkward moments, but also was cool as fuck. Like, he was actually pretty rad. Just didn't really fit in with Lucasfilm as it became more corporate, but also love the guy. Love his contributions to Star Wars, and even sort of maybe the way he shaped the taste of the first two films. But yeah, he fucked up things pretty bad at times, like Carrie being sick and then not really like Carrie was sick on Hoth on that Elstree set because of the snow that they were using. He just didn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So people were getting, Mark Hamill was almost killed inside the Bacta tank when a piece of glass fell through. And so basically the cast completely lost faith in him and pretty much wanted him gone. And then he budgeted Empire Strikes Back at the same exact cost and everything across the board as A New Hope in 1975, when in 1978 they were making Empire Strikes Back. And like today, inflation, weird that it wasn't on his mind. Today, if you go, oh, well, how much was that then? Can you not think of inflation just with what's going on right now? But in the 70s, it was very much the news story of the day. So anyways, Kurtz, yeah, great, cool guy though. And not gonna lie, he's got a pussy eating beard, like he keeps the beard, but he does the mustache because, he wants to keep it smooth. So credit to him. Just considerate lover, the considerate lover, Gary Kurtz. And then right here, we got Cassian's adoptive mother, Marva, I believe is her name. And we got B2 Emo, and he's like, look at him right here. Looks pretty cool. He exclusively plays Depeche Mode and Sunny Day Real Estate. He's got some, it's got some Joy Division in there, I think, too, at least. Like how there's dirt on the windows. Like I said before from this shot, very, very much lit like how Rogue One is, like on Saw's base, like the way that they use the lights and stuff. I like it. It looks cool. And right here we have one more shot. And then this is B2 Emo with Cassian, who is looking very rough. Gotta say, he's looking like he's been in Vegas, hanging out. And then this one's really high res. But look at B2 Emo's little eye. But just look at the texture of the droid. He's beat to shit. Like, I like it. You know what I mean? He's like not even symmetrical. It's almost like he was drawn in AI, Pretty fun though. All right, let's go. Let me check the chat really quickly because I can't see you guys when I'm have that stuff on. Oh, but do what Andrew says. Like and subscribe to the one and only straightforward true Star Wars show. Thanks for the daily cool insights, buddy. Anytime, dude. Yeah, I always try to, always try to be a straight shooter. Why KG? Why I always got to be late? Hey, if you're late but you're not pregnant, you're winning. That's what I say. Hangover 3 looking casting. Yeah, right. Man, yeah. The Hangover movies. Boy, could those movies not be made today already? I'm not saying that's even necessarily a bad thing in some ways. I like Hangover 1. I had a good time. I didn't like the sequels though. I was a bit like, what the fuck is this? This is trash. Okay. So Andor, Tony Gilroy says he won't direct in season 2, and that's by design. So this is pretty much kind of a reiteration of what we got in the last article, I think. 4 years ago, Academy Award nominated director Gilroy, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get down to the quotes. Okay, at least I hope. Then why is unclear, but somewhere along the lines, Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm circled back to Tony Gilroy. This is a lot like the other article that we just read. Season 2, I am not, Gilroy said when asked if he would direct any episodes of Andor Season 2. I am not. Ha! Famous last words, buddy. Famous last words. I'm trying to make the whoa. I can do this. Okay. No. How I was even going to, I mean, COVID kind of saved the show because I was so ignorant and naive about how difficult and how huge and what it was going to be. He said characteristically self-depreciating. I mean, I had no clue. And if I had directed, I mean, it would have been, I don't know what would have happened with the show. The job I have to do now is all consuming and so much more than that. It's just not a good use of my time to be on a set at all. And the directors that we get, they come, they're energized, they're ambitious. And so I can take it all the way down and do the whole thing. But they come in with a new hunger that you really need. And, you know, what he's saying is exactly why TV is usually done this way. And so, you know, this show has more episodes than, say, like Kenobi. That was 6, you know. But I do think at times that maybe 6 episodes for one director might be, I don't know, is it too much? It's kind of, there's times when I look at the directing on Kenobi and I'm like, man, that's really good. It's really good when it matters, but it's the times when it doesn't matter that the directing, you can tell they didn't care, that it wasn't taken too seriously. And I kind of think maybe if there had been 2 directors on Kenobi, sort of some sort of back and forth, maybe that would have helped. But 6 really, I guess 6 really shouldn't be too many though. They come in with a little extra thing. He continued about his A team of directors. There we go. Confirmation. B.A. Baracus is directing. By the way, when I was watching Better Call Saul last couple of weeks, I finished the show. I watched the whole thing. I'm all caught up on it. And liked it a lot. Thought it was pretty good. The end, towards the end, got a little bit, you know, like, I won't spoil it. But anyways, the very ending was good though. All that said, I noticed that Giancarlo Esposito is directing on it. So I think we should definitely throw in on Esposito directing something in The Mandalorian in the future. I mean, Carl fucking Weathers is directing, and we got a guy who's directed on Better Call Saul. I think it's only a matter of time if he hasn't already, you know. Our buddy Jedi Chris is excited for Andor. Yeah, me too, man. And thank you to everybody for subscribing to the show and liking the video. I appreciate it. So anyways, he goes on to say Gilroy is already working on season 2 and it will be shooting later this fall. Dan Gilroy is his brother, Beau Willimon, House of Cards, and Tony himself. It sounds like his YouTube channel. Hey, it's time for Tony himself. Will all return for season 2. The first time we did a 6-day writer's room. This time we did an 8-day writer's room, he explained. I mean, I come in, I bring a huge, 100-page pile of meat and put it on the table, and then we beat it out. So I like Gilroy. I like Gilroy, man. He seems cool. Can't lie. He seems like he it doesn't seem like he's really playing the game in a lame way. Like it's not. I don't feel like he's compromising himself to make a Star Wars show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so making sure I got all of our articles and stuff like that in here. All right, here we go. Let's go on to the next one. Load it up for us right now. There's a pretty good little bit of news hitting today. This is another one from the old playlist, I think. Did I go back to the same article? Maybe it's the same article. Wait, yeah. So this is just Tony Gilroy and he won't direct. This is the original version of it, the original article. Let's see. The original plan was for Gilroy to direct alongside the season 1 filmmakers Toby Haynes, Susanna White, and Benjamin Carone, but COVID-19 hit, and that plan went awry. I spoke with Gilroy recently, and season 2, I am not. Gilroy says, I am not. This is the same article, but for some reason it gave me a different link. I won't fall for that again. Fool me won't. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on me. I can't remember what he said. I'm as stupid as he is. Here we go. This is the other playlist article. Old Jin or so. Tony Gilroy says the final 3 episodes of Andor season 2 take place 5 days before Rogue One starts. 4 long years after it was initially announced, Andor, the Disney Plus series and prequel to Rogue One, a Star Wars story nearly upon us. I am not in the mood for pleasantries and getting the word count up for Google. But let me get down to the part. Okay, so we'll be discussing Andor in much greater detail in the coming weeks and months. So that's cool. So that the playlist is going to be hitting it up. Gilroy spoke about the buy-in on Andor during the press conference for the series, describing the initial element that got him excited about the prospect of going on another Star Wars adventure. I think the main idea is we have a character in Rogue One, and we know where he ends up, and we know how accomplished and complicated he is. And the idea that we can do a story that takes him literally from his childhood origins and walk him through a 5-year history of an odyssey that takes him to that place during a revolution, during a moment in history, in a place where huge events are happening and real people are being crushed by it. The fact that we could follow somebody as an example of a revolution and all the way through to the end, that was the walk-in for me. That was the buy-in, the opportunity to do that. It's a potent moment in history, Gilroy continued. A lot of people are facing a lot of really difficult times and difficult decisions along the way. And that's what the show is about. The opportunity to do that on a large scale, on a big canvas. That's why I'm here. So they're going to say, during my own interview, I asked Gilroy if we were going to see more Rogue One characters like K2SO, voice and mocap performed by Alan Tudyk, and more characters from the Rebel Alliance of Rogue One. He said, yes, of course. But in classic, excitable Tony Gilroy fashion, the filmmaker launched into a bigger treatise of where it's all going, including a revealing the final scene of the series. Yeah, I mean, our final scene of the show is no secret. It's going to be Cassian walking along the tarmac to get in the ship that goes to the rings of Catherine and to meet Daniel Mays, Tivik. And Cassian kills the guy that Cassian kills in Rogue One. Don't worry if that feels like a spoiler. As Gilroy himself, it's not about when and where, it's about the how and why, which none of us know yet. So I agree with you, Gilroy. You're not wrong. Although I do like to know the how and why sometimes too. But I mean, you want to watch History Channel shows and whatever he explained. What's the story? Well, you know how it's going to turn out. And it's still, why did it happen? So there we go. I agree, man. You're not wrong. I hope Lucasfilm is listening to him. So we have a really cool narrative that we're going to do, because we have blocks of 3 that we shoot a show in, more of a production thing, really. It was for directors, but a lot of our shows lined up like that. The director comes in and does 3 episodes at a time in a row, but we realized we couldn't possibly make a show for 5 years. It was just physically impossible, like going to Mars or something. Yeah, so he's just saying it basically was gonna kill him. Yeah, it was about last spring. We were in Scotland and Wallenberg, Diego, and we were like, oh my God, how do we get out of here? How are we going to get out? What's our exit strategy? Then we realized, oh God, we have 4 years and we have 4 blocks. And I went home and I came back and I came up with, you know what? Why don't we jump a year? And what's really cool, when we came back for part 2, we were going to jump a year and we were going to come back. It's a year later and all this shit's happened. And we're going to come back for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So basically, he's going on saying the same thing as he said before. Then we're going to do like 5, 6, 7 days and jump a year. Then we're going to do 2 weeks and jump a year. And the final block that we'll come back to is the last 5 days before Rogue One. So I'm guessing that's when the Death Star shit's going to start hitting the fan, a little bit more. So there have been some real times when it's been really, oh my God, what have I done? I've ruined my career. What am I doing? But I've come around on that last year when we finally started to put it together, when it went from being a fire of chaos in your head all the time to being like, oh my God, there it is. By the time I'm done, I really will have something that was worth it. So clearly Gilroy is giving up a lot of his time and of his, stuff he could be doing for this. I appreciate it. I'm glad. I think it is going to be worth it because I'm excited for Andor. Hey, James, how's it going, dude? Loving those pictures of that pooch. James has been posting some pictures of his pooch. I got to say, Gilroy really sounds like he's got his shit together. Give this man the keys to the franchise. I think he's going to, I think he's going to die if he does anymore from what he's saying. And so I got to say, 2 seasons in a film, I think that's a pretty good contribution to Star Wars, I'm not really crazy about the idea of there being like somebody who goes through and just keeps on doing it, it keeps on making stuff. Like, I think it'll become very much like the same. But consistency is key. Like, this is the Rogue One world of Star Wars. It's great that he's in it, I think. And like the sequel trilogy probably would have been better if it was all Rian Johnson or all J.J. Abrams. I think most of us agree to that. Joel says Gary Kurtz is not the be all and end all of Star Wars. Is he a good producer? Yes. Disagree, Joel. But his absence did not impede the prequels from being the great films that they are. No, in fact, he's a bad producer. He's I believe had to the films he did after Star Wars was Return to Oz. Was that what it was? Return to Oz? And yeah, it was, and it underperformed, and yeah, it had a lot of problems. So was he a good producer? No. Was he a good filmmaker? Probably. I know that sounds weird. I mean, the results are there to some extent anyways. Also, he was fired during The Empire Strikes Back. He didn't finish Empire. So he's a New Hope, and I'm going to say about the first 2 acts of Empire. Then Howard Kazanjian comes in and really starts running the show on Empire. And then strangely, Kurtz showed up for Return of the Jedi story meetings in, I think in London or the UK, I think. I can't remember where it was. And they were like, why are you here? And he's like, well, because we're doing this. And they're like, you're fired, man. So, and Joel says, like with Marsha Lucas, she's a great editor, but the prequels were always edited exceptionally well. Yeah. I mean, it's like you can't take away from the contributions that these people made. Would it be different without them? It would be. Would it be better or worse? Can't say necessarily, because like they solved problems that needed to be solved. And a lot of times when people evaluate the stuff, they go on the assumption that the problems just wouldn't be solved if they hadn't solved it, which just isn't true. Somebody else would have stepped up in their own way and changed that stuff. By the way, guys, I got something to ask you guys. Maybe you guys remember this, or maybe you guys don't. Have you guys ever seen a scene in Star Wars where Luke and Leia and Chewbacca are on the Death Star sneaking around? Han is cuffed with his hands cuffed, I think, in the front, and Chewbacca's behind him, and Luke and Leia are pretending to be stormtroopers, but they're just in their normal clothes. and they walk past some talking Imperials and walk right past them. And they walk past them, and they don't even notice that Luke and Leia are not stormtroopers. And the reason that I ask is that I have some shots of this scene, and I was like, wow. I'm like, is my brain failing me, or is this actually, have I discovered a cutscene? Because I think I might have. I'm not going to say I have yet, but I might have. You know, it's possible. So, anyways, let's go on to the next thing. But if if that is a new thing, I'll put out more details about it or whatever. So, all right, let me come over here. So today we're also going to be talking about some Acolyte stuff. Our buddies over at fulcrumleaks.weebly.com. I gotta say, guys, gotta spring for that $20 on that domain. I think you should get it before somebody else gets it. You know what I mean? But it's our buddies Ahsoka and Naruto. I don't know. Does he run with his arms behind his back? Is that how he got the spoilers? Did he just go to there and run away with his arms behind his back really fast doing the Naruto run? I hope so. All right, so here we go. Oh, and by the way, they said that in episode 3, they're ready to do that one. It has some good surprises. I think it's some stuff that they haven't talked about before. I tried to throw some aggressive negotiations on Twitter at him. I didn't get us anywhere, though. It didn't work. I don't have the Force. I don't have a lightsaber. So anyways, exclusive, the Acolyte episode 2 breakdown. I'm breaking down, man. I just can't take it. Everything's leaking, man. Everything's leaking. From the butthole of Lucasfilm, everything is leaking. Today, we are very excited to share what we currently know about episode 2 of the Acolyte. Make sure to see our breakdowns and more series info by using the search function or category section. Also, please keep in mind that Acolyte is still very much at the beginning stages of production. Details could change for any number of reasons. This is all we know at the moment. Okay, here we go. Info as of August 22nd. Excuse me. There's a lot of information missing from where episode 1 ends up to what you're about to read. It's not an immediate jump. All right, so this episode is set in the present day. Aura is grown up now. The aliens have been attacking the village regularly. This fucking village, man. I mean, I can't lie. It sounds rough. I think it might be time just to let them have it. You know what I mean? Just give them the village. Just move. I mean, I hate to say it, but these people, they kept breaking into my car, right? And when they would break into my car, they would break the window. So I just fucking stopped locking the car, right? I just didn't. I stopped doing it. And then they broke the window anyway because they were stupid. So that's why I moved. That's my point. Oh, he's like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, Naruto runs into the chat. How's it going, dude? Good work, by the way. You're doing the Lord's work, and I appreciate it. Aura is growing up now. She's a woman. The aliens have been attacking the village regularly, and the Jedi always return to help them. Hey, it's us. We're here to help. You know what? How about you fucking kill them, Jedi? I mean, come on. Paul, a rich arms dealer, and unbeknownst to them, a Sith Lord, sells weapons to Theo. Theo's the grandpa, and the villagers so that they can fend for themselves. Someday, soon after, the aliens attack once again. So, it's fucking aliens, man. They just need to stop. Despite the village sending out a distress call, the Jedi are nowhere to be seen. Oh, yeah. You know what they were doing? They were aggressive negotiating. Theo, Aura, Paul, and the villagers put up a fight. This time armed, but it's not enough. They're overrun and everybody except Aura appears to be killed, including Theo. He's like, "Oh man, I'm getting too old for this shit." That's what he says. Like he's like, "I'm getting too old for this shit." And then the Sith Lord's like, "Just as I planned, he would get old and get too old for this shit and die. Now the Jedi girl is mine." Someday, soon after, the aliens attack once again. No, I'm kidding. After Theo's death, Ara is so devastated that in her anger, she gets a sort of a force level up, a new power. Dare I say, a force unleashed? Stupid. This new power works sort of like a shockwave. Shockwave, shockwave. That's what she says. She walks around going, shockwave, shockwave. People. Sorry. When it activates, the force shoots out of her and completely wipes out the alien attackers. Shockwave, shockwave, stilling their victory. Ara goes off into the wilderness. She's like, "Oh man, what is this shockwave power I got? What does it mean?" With the intention to kill the rest of the alien tribes people. Oh, good. Yeah, I gotta say, they kind of got it coming. You know what I mean? I'm not a big stand your ground law kind of guy, but eventually, if they keep fucking coming, all right. Many come out to fight her, but she's so enraged that she kills them all. She doesn't attack their village, though, as she discovers that there are children. Hey, eye for an eye. Come on. No, I'm kidding. So clearly she's somewhat in control, unlike Anakin Skywalker, who, couldn't help it. He killed women and he killed children. So, when she gets back to her own village, the only Jedi that arrives to help is Melody. And if you recall, Melody is the friend who was a Padawan and is now a Jedi who she meets early on in episode 1. But she's too late. Paul has already subdued her. I think Paul was like, "So, what are you into?" And she's like, "I like to be tied up a little bit." And he's like, "How about we play around?" And she's like, "Okay." And he's like, actually, I'm a Sith Lord. I wasn't coming on to you like in a really weird way. Shockwave, shockwave. Paul has already subdued her, despite her being a fully trained Jedi Knight. Paul orders Aura to finish the job. Despite previously having a connection with her, Aura does as he asks and kills Melody. So, you know what? Melody didn't really know you that well anyway. She goes to claim her lightsaber, but Paul takes it away from her. Aura now has no one, no village, no grandfather, no friend, and no sister. With nothing left to lose, she agrees to go with Paul. The two then arrive at Paul's palace on Feather, a new planet, a big black castle perched upon a mountain, covered in large holes, burrows that have some sort of alien bug species. The castle is Paul's main base of operation. And so there we go. I think that is our Fulcrum Leaks news of du jour. I think anyways. Yeah, that was it. Mission did I make, and then we did episode 1 yesterday. So we are current on our Fulcrum Leaks. So yeah, but there we go. It is hot. It's really hot. Gotta tell you guys, it's hot in here. Look how red I am. It's like 100 degrees. But yeah, so I think that's everything from today that I planned on covering. Let's do a quick little, oh no, that's so dumb. It sounds like they canceled Meg's Star Wars thing that she was going to do, which I was looking forward to. Anyways, stupid idiots. We'll be back later on today. If there's any big articles or anything interesting happens, I'll jump back on. Kids got an early day today, so I'm going to pick them up in a little bit. And then I don't have them tonight, though, so if anything happens, I'll be able to cover it. And I will cover it. Yeah, all hail Lambhead, protector of the realm, Jedi Mike. But thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Like, it does mean a lot, and it makes it worth doing and stuff like that. I love doing it just to be with you guys, anyways, and it's fun, So that's primarily why I do it. But it does, it does justify me using this time for it. So it means a lot. I appreciate it, and good job to Naruto for today's story. I appreciate it a lot. And we will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if nothing happens. And talking about the old Star Wars. Although today got on early because like clips hit and stuff. So if there's big news tomorrow early, I'll just get on early. I don't care. You know what I mean? I make my own schedule. I'll do what I want. But anyways, yeah. So thanks again, guys. And be cool. Stay in school.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.